Hello, MotoAmerica fans. It's time for another episode of Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and you may even learn something from this unlikely pair and their special guest. The mic is yours, Paul and Sean.
Hello there, MotoAmerica fans. This is Paul Carruthers. I'm the communications manager for MotoAmerica. This is our weekly podcast, Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. As mentioned, I'm Carruthers. I've got Bice on the other line, and we have a guest today with the name of Sam Verderico, one of our Superbike riders who's been battling along and playing the game, and we appreciate him being in MotoAmerica. He's a good character to have in the paddock. We'll talk to him shortly, but Sean, how are you today?
Hey, I'm great. Getting ready for this test next week. I know you leave on Sunday to go over, and I'll be following up right after you. So it'll be interesting. Middle of the week, 2 days of our test, 4 sessions for each of our classes each day. So lots of track time, one right after another. And we'll be looking at timing and scoring like crazy, as well as we invite the fans to watch the timing and scoring on MotoAmerica's website. So it's all going to be starting soon, Paul.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to get back and see everybody. And I mean, it's just, I don't know, for some reason this off season seems like it was really long, only it's actually probably shorter because we ended later.
Right.
It does seem long. And unfortunately, more fortunately, depending on who you're looking at, the teams are probably glad that there's another few weeks after the test. But I'd like to keep going, but we'll have to, we'll do the test, and then we can come back and kind of regroup and start really pumping up our Road Atlanta event, which will be the season opener. And it's always nice to get down there. Last year, that turned into round 3 of the series instead of the opener because of COVID, and we did the 2 rounds at Road America. But it'll be fun to get to Road Atlanta. It's always a good place, and the riders enjoy it. The racing's good there, and if we get some good weather, which I think we will, then yeah, it'll be a good place to start.
You know, it was funny last year about Road Atlanta. I mean, we all thought, and a lot of fans that are in that area thought with the date that we had, it would be like, oh, it's going to be hot, Atlanta. You guys are going to be out of control. I don't really recall that it was that out of control hot. Do you?
No. And
it was a pretty good weekend. Yeah.
You know, when I look back at a weekend and I don't really remember the weather,
yeah,
it sort of tells me that it wasn't extreme either way. You know, it didn't rain and it wasn't too hot. And I don't recall weather at Road Atlanta at all. Which tells me that maybe we had, you know, good weather, which obviously we did.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of rain. I do remember we were in that brand new media center, which is absolutely unbelievable. If you go to that track as a fan and you see that big tower, that thing is as beautiful inside as it is outside. And it's such a step up from what they had in the past, which Paul had gone to that other media center for about 30 years. So for you, Paul, it was more than exciting that we got a new facility.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's when, you know, I was so used to the old building. It took me a while to even feel like I was at Road Atlanta when I was in the new building, but and then we got shuffled off. Remember, during the construction, we were in some other building.
Yes,
and that was a pain in the butt. So yeah, it was a pleasant change last year. The place is immaculate. I always enjoy the Road Atlanta staff. We get along well, and they're friendly and helpful. So yeah, it's a good one. But so why don't we bring in our guest, Sam Verderico? As I mentioned before, Sam races in the Superbike class with us. Last year, I was looking at his results, and I think he would probably tell us that he had a bad year last year. I mean, 2020 will go down in a lot of people's books as being a bad year for various reasons. COVID-19 for starters, but I think Sam had some injuries. Looked like he had some DNFs, and it was actually, from what I can tell, the worst year he's had in MotoAmerica, finishing 26th in the championship, whereas the year before he was 13th. So it was a struggle for him. But let's talk to Sam and get his let's see where he's up to and what's going on with you today, Sam. How's things up there in Washington State? Correct?
Yeah, I'm up here in Washington. It's cold.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just crawling out of winter right now. So I'm super white.
Super white. So that means you haven't been out on the boat getting sun.
Nothing. If I went out on the boat, I'd be dead. I'd be freezing.
Yeah, we always we see your social media and we get a little boat envy when we see you out there floating around with your with your significant other. And yeah, it looks like you have a lot of fun. I know Washington is beautiful for, that 1 month that it's beautiful.
It's good for about 6 months, but yeah, I love boating. I got some power boats and absolute fiend for it. I just love speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, with the speed that you can do on that boat, it probably has to be ambient temperature a little warmer, because you probably get frostbite in about probably 50-degree weather if with it faster going.
Oh yeah, on the water in 50-degree weather, that's about 30 degrees.
Right.
And I'm skinny. I can't take that.
So was I accurate in my assessment that your year wasn't very good last year?
Oh, it was atrocious.
Well, there you said it, not me.
Yeah, it was. I was fighting a shoulder injury and a hand injury that I got the year previous, and I just couldn't get it to heal. Couldn't get any strength into my steering, or I just pretty much gritted my teeth and fought it out all year. And I switched over to Motec on my R1, and I just couldn't quite get that working. I had to have the help of Ben Fox. He came in and got that thing tuning in for me. So towards the end of the year, I got the bike going, but I just couldn't get going.
Yeah, Sam, I knew you had electronic problems, but, regarding your fitness and your injuries, that was the result of that unfortunate over the handlebars that you had in New Jersey, right?
Yes. Yep. Just shattered my shoulder and broke my hands, and just having a hard time healing from those.
It's so weird because when it happened, of course, everybody's like, what the heck happened? And then we see you and it seemed like you were semi-okay. And then we see you in the hospital and we're like, oh my God, he got really hurt a lot worse than it seemed to be. And you seem to be you must have a high threshold of pain, because you kind of shook it off until you went to the hospital.
I can thank my mom and dad for the DNA. I am really tough. I've raced mountain bikes and pretty much everything. And I've been injured pretty bad, but never really broke anything. It's the first time in my life I ever broke something.
Wow. Yeah.
Just shattered my shoulder and shattered my hands, and I didn't really know it at the time. I was kind of walking around trying to shake it off, and somebody told me, "Wow, you are really messed up." I thought, "Uh-oh."
Wow. So, let's go back to that for a minute, and only because, it's made some highlight reels, and, thank you for your calm demeanor and letting us do that. I mean, I think it's a pretty spectacular crash.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But can you tell us, what happened? I mean, did you grab too much brake? Was it something mechanical that happened? I mean, tell us exactly what happened. It's been a couple of years, so maybe you're okay to reveal that.
We still don't know. The data didn't really show that I pulled too hard. It just seemed like, to me, it seemed like I pulled too hard. Okay. My crew chief thinks my clip-on snapped and my hand went into my fairing.
Oh,
but it's speculative. I don't know. I really didn't do anything different that year. I was just coming into the corner, not really pushing. Just for some reason, I hit the brakes where I hit him and flipped.
Wow. Yeah, it was crazy.
We both did. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. But 2 years on, we look at it and go, wow, that's still a gnarly crash. So.
Sam, yeah, I felt like I got hit by a semi. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I bet.
From behind.
Let's talk a little bit about how you got involved in motorcycling, because it's a little bit different than what your average guy in the superbike class does. I mean, it doesn't sound as though you were raised on a motorcycle. It didn't sound like you did dirt track or motocross or what have you. I don't know exactly, but I just know that you got a late start. Why don't you tell us a little bit how you came about, how you got involved in all of this?
Well, my dad always loved it. So we watched the AMAs on TV, Miguel Duhamel, Chandler, all those guys, Carl Fogarty. We just watched TV. We were extremely poor, sometimes homeless, but really poor. So I never got to ride motorcycles, never got to do any sort of motorsports at all. Just kind of in survival mode. Then as I grew up, I had to drop out of high school early to work. I started working my butt off with just one goal, to get a motorcycle and try to race. That's what I did year after year, just saved up my money and finally got a bike, went to my local club and signed up, and absolutely the worst racer you'll ever see, because I had zero skill. I didn't even know how to ride a bike. I went straight to a racetrack. So I made a lot of enemies quick, but I just never gave up year after year. I sucked for about 9 years until I finally got it. And I started winning races in 2007 at club racing, and kind of took it from there. And I always had my goal in the AMA Nationals, you know, hitting MotoAmerica, and just being fast enough to get on the grid was my starting point. And finally, I achieved the speed and I got onto the grid with you guys, and I started qualifying. I want to better my performance now. I need to get up there.
What kind of perseverance does it take to do that? I mean, it's like you didn't really have any success early, and you stuck with it. Is it just that much fun for you?
It is. It really is. I absolutely love gridding up and racing. I live for it. I spend all my money doing it. You know, when I race the nationals, I'm funding it all myself. I have pretty much no sponsors. So I just got to work and get my business going and make a lot of money. And it's what I've done for 23 years, just, you know, racing and trying hard. And I know that I didn't get the background, you know, the kid racing and the dirt bike, and I didn't have the dad that can push me and the friends at a high level. So I missed all that. So I consider myself a rookie in motorcycles still, even though I'm on the Superbike grid. I'm probably not going to win one, but I'm sure going to try to get back up into the top 10.
You know, it's funny, Sam, I got to tell a story that relates to this a little bit, and I want to follow it up by asking you about this. So when I was a kid growing up in Northern New York, you know, the winters were really long. We did a lot of snowmobiling, but we also skated and played hockey a lot, but it was on frozen farm ponds, and, you know, we would sometimes make a sheet of ice, but, you know, some of the guys didn't even have skates. Some of our guys would play hockey with boots on, and our goals would be boots set up. And, you know, I didn't have any equipment except skates and a stick. And I used to skate all the time. And I got to the point where I thought I was a pretty good skater and thought I was sort of good, but we didn't have hockey at our high school. And I never played any club hockey. It was, you know, just the equipment was too expensive, the whole bit. So I went to college. I went to a State University of New York school, and we had a pretty good Division III hockey team, but we also had an intramural team that guys played from all over. And most of the people that went to my school were from Long Island, where they do a lot of roller hockey and whatever. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go do this intramural thing. Well, the first day I went out on the ice, and it was like readily apparent that I not only sucked, but I could not do anything. I mean, it was like, and I'm over exaggerating. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I was terrible, but I thought I was sort of okay. You are a club racer who actually is pretty accomplished in the area you grew up in. And I know that you are fast at Ridge and raced a lot there. What is it like when you kind of feel like, and do you feel this way? Like, you know, I'm pretty fast, but then you realize once you get on the national level, it's like, oh my God, it's like a whole other thing.
You're nothing. Yeah. When you race those guys, the first time I raced them, Josh Hayes and all those guys, it was just a shock. So, you know, I just won the championship up in Washington State. I was the fastest rider up there, #1 plate holder. Yeah. I came to MotoAmerica with some steam and went to that tire test in Texas and just thought, oh my God, I'm not even close. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah, it's a humbling experience, but, you know, I mean, Paul knows this as well as anybody. It's only it's a couple seconds or whatever. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's amazing that last little bit, right? I mean, it's incredible.
You know, yeah, when I'm on track with those guys, they're not that much faster. Some of the corners I could hold them, 3 or 4 corners, I could be right behind them, but then they just faster corners. They're just better riders. They know how to get in and get out, get on the pipe quicker. You know, they're just better all around, and they slowly do these quick little things all around the track that adds up to 3 or 4 seconds on me.
Why did you pick Superbike? I mean, I think it's cool that you did. I feel like your answer may be, hey, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it at the top level. Is that sort of the case why you didn't, you know, select another class that you could probably be more successful in?
No, I actually started in Stock 1000 for a year. And it was when MotoAmerica was doing their transition and the Superbike class wasn't that big. And MotoAmerica actually asked me the next year as I signed up for Stock 1000, so I was doing well. And they said, hey, how about your Superbike license? We'd like to get you on the grid. You know, you hit top 10 in Stock 1000 every time. I thought, oh, okay, why not? And I went into Superbike and just gets my butt kicked now. So, yeah, I could go into Stock 1000 or Super Stock and probably do a lot better and actually get results. But it's also really cool to line up with the best in the world, you know. And I'm getting later in my years, so might as well say I raced those boys.
That's right.
Let's talk about this year a little bit, Sam, because I occasionally have conversations with Lo Tao from Calshine Racing, and you can vouch for this as well as anybody. That guy is the most genuine, honest, loving, giving person I've ever met, really. Yeah. And he's so cool for the paddock. And I know he worked with you guys last year with Aussie Dave Racing when you were on that team. And this year he's got one of Dave's trailers and trucks, and you're part of Calshine Racing this year. Can you tell us about Lo and how that whole thing came to happen?
He actually just called me and said, "Hey, you're a good superbike racer. We'd like one in our semi truck. Like you to travel with us and race with us." And I just said, "All right," because it's part of Fly still, and that whole Fly thing is just a really fun environment to be around. It's really cool, and Aussie Dave's a really nice guy and puts on a really good show. He's kind of like me, funds his own self, and he's his own guy. So it's a really fun team to be part of. And Tao is just an awesome guy. And I thought, why not? Sounds like a good season.
Yeah. And so you're going to be in with that team. Are you going to have, is your livery going to be different this year? Are you still going to have Fly livery? And is there going to be Calshine logos on the bike? And is it
Fly with Calshine, but it's not really known yet because we're not doing the test. We're still trying to figure it all out. So.
Okay. Your same bike as last year?
Yeah, I got a 2021 R1. I just put all my old stuff on it. So.
Oh, cool. Now we've talked about this in the past. You used to always, would say R1M on the bike. And I know a lot of times when you turn an R1 into a super bike, you don't really need an M. This 2021, did you get an R1 or an R1M to use?
I got an R1M again. Yeah, but you're right. You just rip off the suspension and it's not an M anymore, but that's what I started on. I actually started the Nationals on a stock R1M, and I did well on it, top 10 all the time in stock 1000, and that was pretty cool. I didn't get any recognition for it, so I just
we need to make that distinction, Sam, and I'm glad we're talking about this because I will make sure that we get R1M on there for that bike because it's the same way Corey Alexander is racing a ZX10RR this year. Obviously it's a distinction. So we want to make that distinction. And your bike starts out a higher spec than the bikes that Josh Herron, Jake Gagne, and Matthew Skoltz are aboard. Yes. So yeah.
But when it's all done, like you said, the bikes, they're barely even a Yamaha. It's just a frame and a motor. The rest of it's all custom parts and extremely expensive. That's why I'm kind of hesitant when I race. I don't want to crash those bikes. If I crash them, holy cow, that comes out of my pocket.
You leave the stock tank on the bike?
No, I had a modify. I didn't need it last year, but I had a modified one, so I just kept my Superbike tank on there for 2020.
Oh yeah, no, this is a good question. Technically, we've covered this before, but you're right, Sam. I forgot about the fact that the fuel capacity on a stock R1 won't go full distance for most of our races. Is that correct?
No, it did last year because they cut down the laps. They cut down like 4 laps per round. So
okay,
that's just because the Superbike Cup riders can actually qualify and finish the race. So they had to run stock tanks.
Oh, I see. Okay, for last year, yeah, and I know it's been a couple of years since I remember. Heck, you had Kyle Wyman trying to figure out how to add stuff. I mean, some of the teams that the tank is running under the seat unit and all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, insane. I mean, it affects the top team's horsepower too. If they're running stock tanks, they can't fuel as much, therefore they can't go as fast. So I'm pretty sure the Yamaha and all those boys are still running oversized tanks like me. You can fuel it a lot more.
Yeah.
Sam, when you get to the racetrack and you unload and get everything ready and actually take to the track, is your main thing at that point in time? Are you looking at lap times and trying to improve on what you did the year before or the year before?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I start out slow because I want to get warmed up. I've done that my whole career. I always come out, like Cam and those guys come out swinging right out of the first lap, and it is insane to watch. But I take 5 or 6 laps. I come in, stretch a little bit, go back out, and then I start trying to find my pace. I'm in no hurry. When we qualify, we have 45-minute long sessions, and I know I'm not going to, hit pole position. So when I qualify, I'm just trying to hit that, grid spot, right, qualifying spot. And once I hit it, I'm happy. I kind of relax, and I know I'm in the show and don't try too hard. I don't want to throw my bike away in practice. I want to make the main show. I want to get on TV and have all that fun stuff that COVID kind of killed last year, but hopefully we'll get it back this year.
Sam, when you, I want to talk about Ridge a little bit. So we talked the previous year towards the end of the year when we knew we were going there, and you were telling us how we'd love it, and sure enough, we did. I mean, everything about that track is super cool. That last little corkscrew thing going onto the front straight. But I want to ask you about something that we instituted there. I never followed up with you on this, but of course it's the chicane, and you hadn't been riding with that chicane, and you could see to most of the riders, they wanted to have that there and seemed to appreciate that it's there. It took a little bit of getting used to for some riders, probably took even more for you to get used to because you had so many laps without that chicane. Can you talk about that feature at that track? Because I'm sure we're going to have it again this year. From being the local fast guy, what's your feeling on us having that and having it going forward for that matter?
You know, I like the chicane. I like the straightaway more because it's so damn fast and exciting, and turn one is just absolutely blitzkrieg fast, but it is dangerous, and I do see a lot of people injured there. And, you know, when you're as fast as those national boys, they're going to go through there as fast as they can, and it is dangerous, but, you know, they put in that chicane, and it is fun. It adds an extra element to the track, and, you know, it adds a little bit of safety, so you're not going through turn one so freaking fast. But I like it. I mean, personally, it was kick butt. When I raced it last year, it was the first time I was on the chicane. My bike, like I said, my electronics just weren't working, so I was 15 miles an hour down on the straightaway, so it's kind of disheartening.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I love the chicane. You know, it's exciting, and I'm glad they did it just for safety.
So Sam, I try to talk to you or at least say hi to you at every round, but you know, there's a few things I don't know about you and a few things I want to recognize in you on this podcast. So I want to go rapid fire on a couple of things. First of all, okay. I've never asked you this, but I guess being that I'm Irish, I don't know Latino or Hispanic names very well, but are you Hispanic? Is that your background?
No, I'm Italian.
Oh, that's Italian. Okay. How could I not know that? Paul, I embarrassed myself once again with somebody's name. So
yeah, at least we're used to it.
It's just funny with Rico at the end. I don't know.
Exactly. Yep.
So I'm probably not
the whole time it was Italian.
Oh, geez, here he goes again. You probably had that. People have mistaken that with you before, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, half the time they can't even pronounce my name, and I just laugh. It's a weird name.
So
they always ask me what it is, and I tell them Italian. You know, I have blonde hair, blue eyes, and they're like, "What?" Yeah.
You know, it's true. And so with that in mind, being that I took a lot of Latin, that has to have something to do. That must mean green in some way, doesn't it?
What's that?
Doesn't that mean green? Isn't that the color green? Does your name? Do you know?
God, I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, Sam, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for him right now.
Hey, that's how I get to know somebody, though. And speaking of this is the other part, and this is something else that Paul will cringe about. But, you know, I'm unabashed about my friendliness, Sam. You know that. And I don't have a problem. So I want to, on this podcast, as I often do, I want to recognize Jalen Price, who is always with you. She's a terrific person, always smiling, very happy. Will she be with you again at every round this year?
Oh yeah, she can't wait. She was bummed last year because the COVID killed the Umbrella Girl thing, so she never came on the grid with us. So she loves getting all beautified up and get on that grid and smile and hold my umbrella. And you know, she has probably more fun than I do. She absolutely loves walking around the pits, loves being in that environment. I mean, what an awesome person she is, and I'm glad she's with me. And everybody loves her. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, she really is a terrific person in a lot of ways. And along those lines, tell us about, are you going to have the same crew people this year that you had last year? And who helps you at the track?
You know, last year I had Sage from N-Tech Tuning, and he's just awesome. He was one of Doug Chandler's old guys back in the 90s, just a cool factory mechanic. And I brought him along, and he just loves it. I had Boyd Bruner, and he's been with Attack and a bunch of other teams in MotoGP, and I just had some really cool guys. So, yeah, I'm probably going to try and bring those guys back. If not, I'll find some other guys and keep it rolling like I always do.
So your programs you mentioned earlier is still a little bit in flux. We've got some time before Atlanta, and since you're not going to the test, there's certain things that you're still working out in the off season, I guess. Is that correct?
Actually, the only thing I've worked on this off season was my body. I've been hitting the gym hard, going to physical therapy, trying to get all my points back into shape, because a lot of my riding is physical. When you ride those super bikes, you got to have muscle. Last year I really struggled. My right hand and my right arm just didn't work. So I really worked on that this whole winter. And honestly, I haven't even ridden a bike yet. I'm just waiting until round one. I'm going to come out screaming, because I know, I struggled all last year because of my body. So that's what I really want to work on.
Are you pretty much 100% now? Are you recovered?
Yeah, I'm recovered. I'm a lot stronger than I used to be. I put on 10 pounds of muscle. So I'm 154 pounds now instead of 144. And it's all back. I feel really good.
And tell us, one of the things, you have a painting company, is that right? Tell us about what you do other than have boats and race motorcycles. What is your sort of day thing?
I've always been a painter. I left high school and started painting with my dad. And then when I turned about 27, I needed more money. I just decided to start my own business and get my own crew, and I kicked butt, and it became successful. We did some really high-end painting, and a lot of people recognized that I was one of the top painters in town, so they come to me. And so now I don't advertise anymore. I don't do nothing. People just call me. I send my crew. They make me good money. I work with them, and I spend it all racing, honestly.
Yeah, one of the things Max Flinders told us this really funny story that he went up there. I think you're going to know what I'm talking about, but he came up and he got to ride in your crazy power boats with gigantic car engines on them and everything. And he loved it. But one of the things he said is, so there's Sam out on the river, and he's basically on the phone, and he just gets off the phone. He goes, well, I just made such and such an amount of money by just running your boat, talking on the phone. Is that correct? I mean, is that how you're doing deals all the time or something?
Yeah, when people call me and say, hey, we got this house to paint, I just call up my crew and say, go. My crew's so good, they just pick up all the stuff, grab all the paint, they start painting. So I literally sit in my boat and make money, because my business just runs itself. And of course I got to go help them all the time and train people and make sure it's running efficiently, but it's pretty cool business. Construction business right now is booming, and we're making a lot of money. And we made more money with our last president, but this one, what do you do? Just make a little less.
So Sam, I got to ask you this controversial question, more controversial than the ones I've asked you so far. So do you hire these poor destitute college kids in the summer to paint houses? Is that how it works in the summer?
No, actually most of my guys are Hispanic. That's kind of the workforce right now. And those are the guys that really want to work and be the grunts. So, I think I have 13 guys, and most of them are Hispanics, and they're just hard workers. And once you train them, it takes a couple of years to train a painter. Once they're good, they're good. And after about 3 or 4 years, they quit you and start their own business. That's just part of the game.
All right, boys. I think Sean's asked enough silly questions about your name and your girlfriend. Actually, Sean, you did a good job today. I'm proud of you. He's so much more social than me. I don't think I've ever even had a conversation with Sam, and I need to change that. So I'll come visit you at the first race. I'll bring Sean with me, in case we don't have anything to say, we can rely on him.
Oh yeah, he's always there with a smile.
Yeah, he's smiling, he's happy, and I'm stuck somewhere being miserable and doing work or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna try to venture out a little bit more, and I'll come visit. But we appreciate having you on the show. We also appreciate you being in the series. I mean, when you think about it, the motorcycle racing needs a lot more than top-notch factory guys running at the front. We need guys that fill the field. We need guys at the back that are racing with each other.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling people. I mean, I keep telling all these fast guys to get to the nationals. We need you. Not everybody's going to be the top 5 fast guy. We need the middle racers and the back racers. We need you all, and that's what we're missing right now.
Yeah, because, if we didn't have that, we'd have 6 guys, and nobody wants to watch 6 guys. So we appreciate you being there, and we count on you being there every year. And I'm glad your health is better. I'm glad you've been able to get in some good work this off season and get back to where you need to be physically. Like you said, they're not easy bikes to ride if you're not at your peak performance. So we're looking forward to a good year for you, and we look forward to seeing you. We're sorry you're not coming to the test, but we'll definitely see you, obviously, at Road Atlanta. So thanks for joining us. And Sean's going to do a little sales pitch here, and then we'll cut you loose.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, Sam, thanks for being on with us. Looking forward to seeing you at Road Atlanta, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. And one of the things I want to ask you too, leading into this promo, is I'll bet you've never been to Brainerd before, have you, Sam?
No, but I have a friend, Mike Sullivan, that used to race there back in the 90s with the AMAs. He said turn 1 is fast.
Yeah, Mike Sullivan. Yeah, turn 1, you got to have big cojones to make that one. So, yeah, we remember Mike. Well, I'm bringing that up because the tickets for Brainerd International Raceway just went on sale. So you can go on to our website at MotoAmerica.com and click on tickets, and there's a link there to get tickets now. So they're part of our 9-round season this year, and they were one of the ones that hadn't had ticket sales ready yet, but it's good to go now. And that's a track that with a lot of historic significance. There was a World Superbike around there years ago. A couple of them, wasn't there, Paul? Weren't there 2?
Yeah, there was a couple.
And Paul was there. Paul was there. So so we want to make sure we get lots of fans up there and touch that part of that upper Midwest part of the country where there are a lot of rabid motorcycle fans, and come and see Sam race there for the first time, and a lot of our riders are going to be there for the first time, but we're looking forward to it. So just like all our rounds, go to MotoAmerica.com and go to tickets and click on it. And again, thanks so much, Sam.
You got it, guys. Thanks a lot. It was fun.
You guys take care. Thanks.
See ya.